Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. We're on the ropes yet again. Ashley Graydon, Nee Milverton, it very well could be his maiden name, has gone about scrambling a story better than his eggs, claiming to have witnessed Gina Lestrade pull the trigger on Mr. Windibank, only to subsequently toss it out the peephole for him to pick up, examine, and then take off out of the pawnbroker with it. It just screams bullshit. It's such a bogus tale, and yet everyone in this gallery, in this courtroom, is gobbling it all up. Why? Because we can't disprove a thing. It's supposedly airtight. Surely we're not the only ones who can see this farce that's being spouted out of his lips. But unfortunately, Van Zieks is capitalizing, and, well, I don't know how this is going to go. If we have to do another summation examination, I swear to God, it was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Ugh! I seriously don't know how close we are to finishing this trial. I mean, it is the final case, right? My lord. Been a long battle, this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman. As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Oh, for fuck's sake. Didn't I just say we don't need, like, okay, you can tell everyone's banners behind them has gone back to the default red. It's coming. For goodness sake, it's coming. God. Ready, men. All for one now. Sir!
Guilty.
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 Well, they're certainly getting their money's worth out of these voice actors. Just say the word guilty, and we'll have it repeated in the game multiple times. Fantastic. Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. Again. For the third time. Are you sure you want to drink that now, Van Zieks? You've prematurely celebrated the past couple of times. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful. Hey, you know, third time's the charm. Even though, you know, I've charmed them already twice. You shot me again! I don't believe it. After I've come so far. How is it all unraveling on me so fast? It's because Susato's not here. Iris is here instead, and unfortunately her science doesn't fly, whereas Susato's legal knowledge does. How very distressing. To be held in such low esteem. Who is that? My shadow self? My persona coming out? I was about to say, is it Kazuma's soul? But no, it's the bailiff. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? What? Officer? You've delivered the report now. That'll be all, thank you. Please stop interrupting proceedings. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't tell me this is Sholmes. Surely not. That scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. Gregson, do you know this guy? I know that voice. It's not Inspector Hosonaga, is it? With a fake mustache? Am I going mad? Who is it? Oh my, oh god. Looks like we're starting this episode off with a bang. Mr. Sholmes! What is the meaning of this? That pose. Oh god. Did you see Van Zieks' head bowed? He's like, oh my god, this clown. Order! Order! What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. Oh, Graydon certainly doesn't look too happy to see him. What errand?
Harley, it's really you. You're awake at last.
Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Oh, so you were sleeping in, were you? And this was the closest outfit you could find? Now, my lord, if you'll humor me. In what manner, sir? Would you like me to tell a joke? Start juggling? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time? Oh my god. Just barges into the courtroom, demands 5 minutes of the court's time to deliver me some news. You realize I've just declared a guilty verdict, right? What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks? Coward. Putting it on Lord Van Zeeks to decide for you. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, please. Please show mercy. This trial has taken many hours of the court's time. Having spent so long already. Exactly. Having spent so long already. I don't want to go waste any more precious time. Gregson really eager for this trial to end. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Ah! Very well then. Counsel, you have 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's all I need, Your Honor. Oh. Well, I think we spent 4 minutes of it getting Herlock back into his, default outfit. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? I knew you were being overdramatic. You weren't even shot. Those are your vials. Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry, what? Is there such a thing as all wrong? I thought it was just all right. I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Well, let's make this discussion as short as possible.
Harley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is.
Ah, well. That concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. It was never meant to be presenting findings in court. It was supposed to just, I guess, lead him to the right conclusion. Oh, Graydon's blood was here? Yeah, sure, we can't submit that as evidence, but we now know. Okay. Actually, Graydon was here. Let's find evidence of his presence, right? You'll have your eyes peeled open for anything linking back to him, right? I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What is this? Did Susato pack me a lunch? What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Susato. Oh, a leaving present. Do I really need to receive this right now? I'm gonna burst into tears in front of Lord Van Zeeks, and, I don't exactly want to come across as a wimp. From Miss Susato? If possible. Matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Well? Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. Really? She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are, would find yourself in considerable peril. Oh, okay, so she wants me to fight dirty. What is in here? Pepper spray? At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san. Whatever could it be? Huh? What is this?
Oh, it's the machine I made.
Ah, it looks familiar. Isn't that the cat flap? Yeah, maker. I completely forgot this invention existed.
Meow. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention.
What is that?
I call it the cat flapper-mat. I can make a cat flap for a little fairy friend like Waggy in seconds.
Huh. What does this have to do with the case?
What's Susie up to?
Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I wasn't allowed cats on board the ship anyway, so I don't need this cat flap. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. No, what? Why, how could she say that? After these notes she's compiled? What? Didn't she say something like that? Huh. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world.
Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure.
Is it because you're hiding something from me? Like, the fact that I can't rely on you because you're holding information? Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Winterbanks in pursuit of the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. Really? That is your answer, dear fellow. That's my answer? What? Not at all cryptic then. I was about to use that exact same word, Ryunosuke. Susato-san used this cat flapomat that night. But why? The cat flapomat has been entered into the court record. Did she, like, plug a trap door under the floor? Did she make an alternative escape route? A compact machine for the rapid creation of small flaps and larger doors to allow cats to come and go freely. I mean, she obviously knows about the manuscript and its contents if she knew the title. I guess time's up, yep. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? That's fine, I guess. Sholmes needs his nap time. I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, detective. After all, the die is cast. Pun intended. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. But I have to try. I wonder. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me? I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end. Badly. Uh-oh. No pressure then. My lord, the defense requests... I request time to think. I just need 5 more minutes, please. This trial has gone on long enough. It's no good. I need time to think. What do you think you're doing, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? What of Mr. Sato's gracious gesture? Yeah, you didn't give me much information, okay? Would you let this final piece of evidence she left you go to waste? Final piece of... This is not a time for inaction. This is a time to hear from a witness. But it's not possible for me to bring a new witness to the stand at this point.
I don't think that's what Hurley means, Rune.
Yep, we just need to resume our cross-examination.
Have you forgotten where we are in the trial?
If the defense has nothing more to add, I think we should proceed to the adjudication.
Hold it!
Wait! Hold it! Wait, my lord, the defense requests further cross-examination.
Objection!
Even though they've already declared a guilty verdict. The jurors have spoken! Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now.
Objection!
Yeah, well, fuck your protocol. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness. Rather, to continue with the one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. It was just paused. My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well, the cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. But even if it was suspended, they can still declare a guilty verdict mid-cross-examination. You can't just keep cross-examining, right?
So nobody can say anything then. If Rune asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon.
The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd! It truly is, but I'll take it. Give me my cross-examination, my lord, and then I'll just make sure it never ends. I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Thank you, autosave. Just in the nick of time. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. a single chance to present evidence. If, following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Oh god. Mr. Sholmes! I thought he was about to say Mr. Sato for a second. Everyone's just standing around. Great. To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down. Or Iris. Here we go! And I won't waste this final chance that Susato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well then. Under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. But there's so many loose ends left, like, oh my goodness. Surely we're not approaching the end, the moment of the shooting, again. Ooh. Climax music. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Okay, let's work this out. First things first, let's take a look at the cat flap maker machine thingamabob. What does it do? Okay. Phew. Those vicious teeth look like they can rip through almost anything.
They're good, aren't they? They're made of a special alloy I developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so it can get through any kind of door in no time at all.
And, what are the two parts at the top there?
Ah, those are for attaching hinges to the section of door that gets cut out.
Right, of course. The peephole. There was never a peephole in that door. It was made.
Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest of doors.
It's such a strange thing to have, isn't it? Like, why would you have a peephole going into the storage room? I suppose maybe if you're in this... No, even then, like, you just open the door and walk out and see the customer. It's not meant to serve as a panic room. It sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but it feels like the reality of the cat flapper is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction.
Wagahai's so adorable, there's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons.
Okay, alright. I don't see an obvious peephole on that door at 1 a.m. And yet there's one at 1:30. Oh my god, how did I not see this? Okay. We've got it. We've got it. We've got it. I'm presenting right here, right now. Your fucking peephole is a joke.
Objection.
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Counsel? It's such a small detail, you wouldn't even notice it because you're focused on the freaking desk and the fact that Gina and Mr. Windibank are missing.
Oh, it's my cat flapper mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room.
Ah, this is what I miss about Ace Attorney, just having that sudden epiphany of just like, what's happened?
It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it.
That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please without their owners having to open the main door. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves.
But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case.
Oh, really?
Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door.
Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. I know I haven't got it wrong because Ryunosuke's acting super cocky and not, you know, like nervous. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Winterbank had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork in the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see the inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous! What are you trying to say? And then, of course, like, you know, you could easily unlock the storeroom. You just have to reach through the peephole and, you know, twist the knob, right? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much as my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes. How could you? What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean. Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such a time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No! That was quite the dance.
Objection.
I like how he was still dancing in that transition. This is a farce! Are you really suggesting the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant, using this device. Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions. That is a most serious act of vandalism. For which I humbly apologize, my lord. I'm apologizing for, you know, my team's transgressions. First, Gina committed perjury, now my assistant is committing crimes. Tampering with the crime scene. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Well, you can't really call that tampering with the crime scene. For all you know, she was trying to save someone's life, and she made a hole in the door so she could access it. Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel. He's talking in riddles. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony, it appears to incriminate the defendant, is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claimed to have seen. Ugh. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ugh. Finally, we've shined the light on the cow dung that was his testimony. Order! Is there any credence to this revelation?
Objection.
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is! Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? How about I cut it through your face?
Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest doors.
That's absurd! I didn't believe it for a second. Uh-oh, I think juror number 6 is gonna try and get his hands on it.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What?
Wacky, Kiwi, time for dinner.
Oh my god, she's already made one. Hello.
Well,
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. What? One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey, not the Oak Bailey. I'm not done yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean that the peephole in the storeroom door at Winterbank's was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was.
No, but it's easy.
What?
The cat flaps my cat flapperman creates are all of a fixed size. And the dimensions of the peephole at Winterbank's are an exact match.
Ah!
Old Silky's lost for words.
Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. Huh? I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. She's a fugitive now on the run. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the peephole has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. I've already got that, locked and loaded. Between 1 and 1:30. What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. It's hearsay. There is no proof. Damn it, Susato. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. What? Come on, Ryunosuke, concentrate, pick yourself up. Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, Counsel, I am...
Don't give up now, Rene. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through.
You mean I need to use the cat flapper mat? I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. She's the only one I know, so by default, really. Anyway. Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peephole in the door of Winterbank's storeroom was created after the event, and not before. Which one do I present? Probably this one?
Take that!
What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again? They're pretty useful, actually. My judicial assistant, Miss Susato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman. Which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. Damn. I love that he's batting for her, man. It's just, oh god. And the necessary proof is this photographic print, Counsel. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless Brooker. Okay, 1, stop trying to distract everyone from what I'm trying to make a point of. And 2, unless Winterbank was webbed to the ceiling by Spider-Man, I don't think she's wielding the gun in his direction. But more to the point, okay? I know this is a terrible exhibit, but still. It pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. There it is. No peephole. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description. Ah. Mr. Graydon. You couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done. Because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Not just a pack of lies, it's a catalog. It's a whole library of lies. It's an omnibus of lies. Ah! Well? Oh, well, he got up quick, didn't he? Order! Order! I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with a crime scene! Oh, for fuck's sake, she didn't tamper with a crime scene! The police weren't on site! Huh? But more importantly... Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zieks! The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. Oh god, he's attacking our credibility now. Van Zieks, I thought you were better than this, man. Why are you dealing such low blows? But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. He looks unhinged. Yes, in fact. If you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here! Oh, please. No! I don't believe this. But they're right, as it stands now. I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit.
Still, he can't worm his way out of it now.
Iris?
You know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat is bolted. Isn't that right, Runo?
What?
As Hurley always says. One lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories.
Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, which apparently is a crime, as Lord Van Zieks has pointed out, so you can go wallow in a prison cell yourself, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. The fact that blood spattered all over the coat. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, the bloodstains on the coat. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right. The victim's blood spattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie that you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously, if it was made after the fact, you stuck around, or did you come back? Has the cat got your tongue, witness? No, the cat bolted. My lord, we should probably get that cat flap uninstalled, though. The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop, having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. I'm telling you, he was also disguised. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of porn articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through it all. And, why was he negotiating with Graydon before, right? And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have access to the shop. Therefore, You should have known nothing about the peephole in that storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door. What, you think he's telling the truth? Do you honestly think he's telling the truth, Lord Van Zinks? Please. Please swear to the court that you think he's telling the truth. How on earth is that possible? What a conundrum. Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zinks? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you, permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Oh. Oh, of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. I've said this like 5 times already, but Lord Van Zinks insists. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else. Ugh. Okay, I guess he wasn't disguised as an officer, even though Sholmes has proven it to be absolutely possible.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, looks like someone else has been tampering with witnesses. Considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be. Who was the person in question, Counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? Someone who's about to get the hell out of here.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Me?
Objection!
It's a lot of objections. You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today. The only chance he had to learn it was when Gregson whispered in his ear. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our 1-hour-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communications station. And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling, not a single clue, that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such a time as he was summoned? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information, so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin. Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fellow, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Have you forgotten that? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Well, it was clearly like Slumdog Millionaire, you know, he wrote the answer on the mirror and it fogged up. And then that's how he knew that there was a peephole. I'm just kidding. He did it right in front of us. He thinks we're stupid. He thinks we're all idiots. Blatantly telling him about the peephole on the witness stand during a testimony. How outrageous. An egregious violation of the Old Bailey. Worse than that cat flap being installed by Iris. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. I was the only one who had balls to interrupt them. Ugh.
Oh, I just remembered something, Reno.
What is it, Iris? I clearly have the memory of a goldfish. That's why I keep imitating one before intense questioning.
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying.
Oh, yes, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilden's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. With their backs turned. You'd think they'd at least, like, try and, talk out of the corner of their mouths or something. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then. You little toe rag! You're making this all up! I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud! Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. He was gonna divulge who his co-conspirators were in terms of stealing the state's secrets, who he was selling them to. Maybe you were trying to get him to turn witness, but unfortunately he could only do that if he got away with murder, basically. What deal, Counsel? I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the peephole at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give certain something to the inspector. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Well,
Objection!
Oh, Iris is gonna have a field day with you, Gregson. It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. I'm a defense attorney. Of course, I'm not gonna accuse people. I'm defending. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? You want me to... We all saw them! We saw them being absolute morons, negotiating a deal in front of everyone. Are you saying I'm the only one who saw that? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it.
Reno, do you think it could be...
Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? Good question. Let's find it. I believe it must relate to the music box disc, my lord. Inspector Gregson, besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case? What are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. How the bleeding Nora could you... It's in the newspaper. We discovered, during the course of this trial, the music box deposited at Windibanks by Magnus McGilded. A special music box, designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details on the case! You little... Ugh! We're in pursuit mode now! Order! Order! On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windibanks, you said this. I'll be taking that, whatever it is, on McGilden's down to the yard, thank you very much. Send it over.
No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine.
Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded is to be taken in as evidence now. Scotland Yard already knew that at that time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilded was involved in the stealing of government secrets. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the Peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No, God! Oh, God.
Objection!
Van Zeeks, you're killing my throat here. If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Where's your evidence? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly, he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No. He would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious, then, you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes!
Yes, it's in his hat. The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once.
Definitely. They can only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before, and Gregsy hasn't moved from the witness stand since.
My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? What's the matter? Don't tell me it's in your cone of wedges.